Hello, everybody. Thank you for attending. This is a regional discussion on community electricity aggregation and all the benefits that it's going to derive for not just New Bedford and Acushnet and Fairhaven and Dartmouth and Freetown in the region, but the region as a whole, all the way to Carver, up north. Who's the farthest up north? Dracut. So it's a very exciting time for us. On behalf of Mayor Mitchell, who had hoped to be here, but he got called out at the last minute, I am Scott Durkee. I'm the Energy Director of the city. And with me is David Cressman, Town Manager of Dartmouth, Alan Coutinho from Acushnet, Stefano Loretto from Good Energy, and Phil Carr from Good Energy. Before I give my remarks, I'm going to pass it on to David.
Thank you, Scott. Just wanted to say a couple of things about this program. Is that I've been involved in some other regional programs in my career, and from those past regional programs I've been involved with, I approach regional programs with a bit of wariness and caution. And in the case of Dartmouth, we were very cautious about getting involved in this program. Our caution was waiting to see who they chose as a consultant, to make sure that we were comfortable with the consultant that they chose. We then, as we moved through the process, we also raised some concerns, along with some other communities, about the proposed electric supply agreement. And what we had seen from our own past experience was the municipalities did not weigh in on these types of agreements ahead of time, or as well as they could have from my past observations. So what we did with this one was we asked for a group of municipal attorneys who represent the 20-plus communities in this group to sit down and have a series of meetings over a couple of weeks and conference calls and things like that to review any proposed supply agreement, and therefore set out the standards that should be in that agreement so it would benefit the residents and the communities rather than being solely for the benefit of the supplier. And that's one of the unusual parts of this regional agreement. One of the things that I think is positive about it is that we went forward in that way in doing the due diligence on behalf of the residents.
Thanks, Dave. Hi, I'm Alan Coutinho. I'm the town administrator from the town of Acushnet. And just to highlight a few things David said, when we started this adventure, Acushnet, a small town of 10,300 people, was one of the first communities that thought this was going to be a good idea. About 10 to 15 years ago, Acushnet and a few other communities, Fairhaven and Dartmouth, had tried to do something like this, and we got nowhere. I think that speaks to Southeast Regional Planning push to get this through, the consultant, Good Energy, that we chose, and really Scott Durkee from the city of New Bedford, his expertise. A small town like Acushnet is going to benefit the same as the large municipality of New Bedford or a fairly large-sized town like Dartmouth. All the residents in the region are going to benefit from this, not just one particular community. And it goes to show that what we can accomplish, the savings our residents and you here in New Bedford are going to see, because we all work together and we did our due diligence, and for 2 years we're going to have very stable electric rates. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone appreciates Scott Durkee's work, Good Energies, and SERPEDS. They're not here this evening, but without them this never would have happened.
Good evening. Thank you for coming out tonight to hear about this program. I'm Bob Espandola, selecting for the town of Fairhaven. And one of the things that I think this program is really not new. The concept is not new, I should say, about being able to buy your supply from a third party as opposed to just buying the default service through the utility company. It's been around for many years. But I think what this program brings is the confidence that you can have that you're dealing with a known entity. Sometimes you may have received mailings from some of these third-party suppliers. You may have received a phone call from them trying to get you to buy the supply from them. And it may be something you just really didn't feel comfortable with because you just didn't know enough about it. And I think what this does, in addition to just bringing the groups together for the cost savings, is to give you the confidence that you're dealing with something, if it's municipal governments are involved, and obviously it's been vetted through legal processes, and you can feel comfortable about who you're dealing with. So I think that part of it is really something that shouldn't be lost on any of you, and people that may be watching this. This will be broadcast. I know in Fairhaven we're going to try and show this programming on our cable program after it's concluded. So I think that's a really important fact. The stability is there for a 2-year period, and out of the gate you start off with some savings. They're modest. It's not but it is a good 6.5%, I think, or so on your overall bill. It's something to be said for that. So and I'd like to say the same thing. We've had good experience with Good Energy. I know people from Fairhaven have called them with specific questions, and their comment back to me is they were very, very helpful to them. So if you have any questions, I'd encourage you to reach out to them directly.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. So Phil, we'll get to you guys in a little while, but I kind of want to do a little discussion on where we are right now, the Whaling Museum. What an appropriate place to have this discussion. This region, New Bedford, Acushnet, Fairhaven, Dartmouth, it was the first energy capital of the country with whale oil. Now we are moving to a more sustainable leadership position. And what do I mean by that? Efficiency. Acushnet is a green community, the only one in the region. Dartmouth has converted all its streetlights to LED. They've done efficiency in their buildings. Fairhaven, when I was at DOER for 10 years, we did an assessment. They're one of the 2 most efficient municipalities on their municipal buildings in the Commonwealth. And New Bedford's moving forth with a $45 million efficiency project for our buildings. Solar, what's going on with that? New Bedford is a national leader on a watts per capita basis. Dartmouth has more than we do on a commercial basis. Acushnet and Freetown, Fairhaven, all are moving solar. And you talk residential. Mass Save, the way that all our residents are going through this program with communication and communities working together to get that done. It is truly exciting, and I would venture to say that this region, if you combine solar and efficiency, has the most concentrated and sustainable activities in the country. Let me say it again. Has the most sustainable activities in the country. Again, the Whaling Museum is a great place now to move this next forward. Now we're on aggregation. 23 communities working together to both purchase the electricity. The economic impact to the region, first 6 months, $15 million of savings going back into our economy just on how we buy electricity. $15 million, exciting stuff. Small businesses, residents, everybody together. With that, unless you all want to add to that at all, I'm going to hand it off to Good Energy to get into the details and the nuances of community electricity aggregation. And with that, I'll hand it off to Phil and Stefano.
Thank you very much. So yes, this is an amazing venue. Just to get out of the way, I am a Brit, in case you're wondering about my accent. So community electricity aggregation is the bulk purchasing of electricity for all of the residents and businesses in cities and towns that are part of this group that have not already purchased another electric supplier, that have not already selected another competitive supplier. We're going to run through a couple of the nuts and bolts of how this works in reality, how it works in practice. Stefan and I will yes. Okay. Let's start with the video. Perfect. Yep. Okay. So we're going to start off with a 10-minute video, and then we'll go into some of the details about what's called the Optout Letter, which you're going to be receiving in your mailbox in the next couple of weeks.
Hi, this is going to be a chance for us to talk about the Community Energy Aggregation Program. We're going to go through what it is, why it is of benefit and why it is of interest to ratepayers in southeastern Massachusetts as well as other parts of the Commonwealth, how it works, and then I'll let Philip take most of the questions that I ask. I'm Ross Perry with Southeast Regional Planning and Economic Development District. We've been serving communities in this part of Massachusetts for over 30 years, and one of the projects we work on is ways to reduce costs for residents and as well as helping increase services for the towns. With me today is Philip Carr, Director of Business Development from Good Energy. Good Energy is an independent consultant working for Serped and the communities involved, and they will serve to handle all the administrative work with the Department of Energy and Resources, as well as the Department of Public Utilities. They will handle the bid, and they will serve as our energy consultant, your energy consultant, throughout this whole process. So Philip, thank you for joining me here today. Maybe you could explain in more detail what the Community Energy Aggregation Program is.
Right. So thanks, Ross. So Community Energy Aggregation, also known as municipal aggregation, is essentially the bulk purchasing of electricity for all residential and business accounts in your community that have not already selected a competitive supplier. The benefits of this program are as follows. You will get a single household will get the same purchasing power as the largest industrial user by banding together all of your residential and business accounts in one large buying group. And what's even more exciting is we're banding together all of the businesses, not just in one community, but in 23 communities across the South Coast region, but also reaching out into the center and up into the north of the Commonwealth. You will save money because while the utility is mandated to pass on the costs of power purchased on specific days of the year, we can purchase whenever we want, whenever the market conditions are favorable. The utility has to purchase on a certain day of the year, which means if the markets are high that day, they're going to purchase that day. That's why you've been paying such high rates last winter. So what this program can do means that you can suddenly step out from what the utility's been doing and purchase strategically.
And my understanding, Philip, is you get more than just a good price. There are other benefits of this program as well.
Absolutely right. So you can get the budget stability. The utility rate changes twice a year, whether you're behind Eversource or National Grid. With this program, you have one rate that's not going to change for the duration of the contract term, which might be 2 years or longer. And that's a great thing, because also at the same time, you get advantageous contract terms. Now, we know a lot of people have been getting offers in the mail from different competitive suppliers. Many of those offers have termination fees. This program has no termination fees. And also, you get exactly the same quality of service from your utility, whether it's Eversource or National Grid, as you received before the program commenced.
So if a customer has a problem with electricity, snowstorm comes and takes out the wires, electricity stops, who do they call?
You call National Grid or Eversource, and whoever your utility provider is. And they will come and fix your lines exactly the same, both before and after the commencement of the program.
Will these distribution companies treat the customers any differently because of the municipal aggregation program?
No, they'll treat you the same. You have to think about these utilities these days. They make no money on the actual commodity itself. You remain their customer regardless of whether you've elected a third-party supplier, elected another competitive supplier. So you remain their customer. A good way to think about them these days is a little bit like FedEx or UPS. Their business model is based on delivery, and their goal is to deliver you power, and they must make sure that you have that power when you need it.
Will they be getting multiple bills through this, or will they just get one bill each month?
Great question. You will still get one bill. So the only difference on that bill, you make one payment to the utility, you receive one bill, is on the bill itself. If you look under the line item for the cost of the commodity, you will see that there is a different rate compared to what those people who are on with the utility are actually paying. It'll also show the name of the supplier. And one of the things we do as a consultant is for this buying group of communities and for your community is we run a highly competitive bid with some of the largest and most responsible power companies in the country who will fight to win your business. So you will have the best rate within the given market conditions.
Well, speaking of rates, can you estimate what the average household will save each year?
Yeah, we would estimate the savings would be in the region of between $80 to $120 a year. Now, the rates are released 6 weeks ahead of time before they're implemented. So we can't give you an annual saving ahead of time, but these programs are due to go into effect concurrent with the new rate change for the winter. So behind National Grid, we're expecting these programs to commence in November, and behind Eversource, they should commence in January. And a very important thing to bear in mind is that you must look at your savings on an annualized basis. So if you're saving $140 during that 6-month winter period, and you're losing $40 in the summer, that's $100 savings over the course of 12 months.
To the ratepayers and their service at that time.
Right. So when the contract expires, ahead of time, as a consultant, we'll be working with your elected officials and municipal leaders to ensure that all of the that everything is in place to run another competitive bid, and residents will receive another opt-out letter, and that opt-out letter, if you do not want to participate in the program, you send back the letter that is sent to you. If you do want to participate, then you just do absolutely nothing. We should talk a bit about the opt-out letter. Mechanically, the way this program works is that every single resident and business in your community who has not already elected a competitive supplier will get sent a letter saying, this is your new rate, this is how long the contracted term is for. If you do not want to participate in this program, send it back. Send back this letter. However, if you do want to participate, you do absolutely nothing, and you will be enrolled, and you will have the new rate, which gives you the budget stability and the savings. And also, crucially, there are absolutely no early termination fees. So you can leave this program whenever you want for no penalty.
And if they were to move locations across town or out of town, what happens in that case?
If you move location, if you close your account and open a new account at a new address, you will be sent a new opt-out letter. And once again, if you do want to be enrolled, do nothing. If you do not want to be part of the new program, then you should send back the opt-out letter.
If a customer stays in this program, do they have to change any equipment at their house or change their meters?
Absolutely not. Nothing changes at all. The only thing that changes with this program is the one line on the bill, which explains the cost of the commodity and the source from where it comes from, as in which energy company is providing it.
Will a ratepayer be notified when they've been successfully enrolled in the new program?
You'll be enrolled in the program when you receive your first bill with the community rate in it.
Now, another benefit that you mentioned in this program is the ability to select how much of your power is from a renewable source or a green source. Can you explain a little bit how that would work?
That's another great thing about the program, is if your community would like to increase the amount of renewable energy in your electricity, then you can do that. So your community leaders can decide to ensure that more renewable energy above and beyond the mandated standards by the state laws are actually implemented.
Great. Philip, I think we've covered the high points of this program. Is there anything I've forgotten to ask you that we ought to summarize the program with?
Yeah, no, I think we've covered most of the salient points here. This is an exciting program. It's been municipal aggregation programs, community energy aggregation programs like this one have been going in the Commonwealth for over 10 years now. And so this isn't a new concept, but it is a timely concept. With volatile electric prices and managing your pocketbook, this is a great program to make sure that a single household can get the same purchasing power as the largest industrial user. And if you want to leave the program, you can do it at any time at no cost.
Great. Well, Philip, thank you for answering some of these questions, providing some great information. Additional information can be found on the webpage that we've created, serped-muniag.com. And if there's any questions, there's a link there where you can send your questions in to us, and we'll be glad to get back to you directly. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to this program this fall.
Thank you, Rob.
That is very good. That was done months before we got the contract. A couple things that I'd like Phil and Stefano to talk about is the green energy option that's included in this, as well as, and I know you won't say it, but on a national basis, this bulk purchasing aggregation that our 23 communities participated in is the third largest in the country. And the pricing we got reflects that buying power. And I'll let Phil talk about that as well. And then we can go through the modeling after we do the Eversource.
Perfect. Sounds good.
The one thing I did want to clarify in regarding the renewable energy is that, as the video mentioned, at that point in time, we were looking at a scenario where each community would decide if there were going to be any renewable electricity included in the price. What we were able to do actually is leave that decision up to each individual resident or account holder. So you're going to have the option to decide if you want to stay in the base product, which is going to include already by state mandate 10% renewable energy, or you're going to be able to make an election and go into a product that has 5% additional renewable energy at a premium that will be about $20 a year. And the renewable energy is coming from sources, local sources in the Commonwealth. So it's not something that's, you're not helping, pay for a wind farm in a far off distant state. It's actually local renewable energy. So we wanted to make that one distinction because it does allow each individual resident and account holder to make that decision on their own. So over the next week, all the various communities will be receiving an opt-out letter from Edison Solutions. You talked a little bit about it in the video. The letter is basically giving you some basic information about the program. It's giving you a price comparison based on the aggregation rate as compared to the utility rate for the 6-month period that we know from January 1st through July. And then there is a card that if you do not want to participate, you fill out that card and return it. And then you will be excluded from the program and you will continue to remain on the Eversource basic service. If you do want to participate in the program, you don't have to take any action at that time. You will automatically be enrolled when the program starts in January, and you will see that change take effect on your January bill, which you will receive in February.
And one more thing, the opt-out letter will only be sent to residents and businesses that have not already chosen a competitive supplier. So for those of you who may have selected a competitive supplier, you can get into the program, but we have a whole calculator tool which is going to get into that. You need to be a little bit careful to make sure that your termination fees aren't going to wipe out your savings. Different competitive suppliers have different termination fees if you want to break your contract early, because the rate is very favorable and hard for other suppliers to beat at the moment. So Scott, maybe you'll...
So what we've done, and this can be used for anybody in the region, and you can call the Energy Office in New Bedford, but we've created a calculator. There is one on the Mass CEA website that if you have questions, definitely call Good Energy. But Tyler, let's go to the Eversource comparison first. So if you have Eversource as your supplier, you don't have a third-party supplier, if we put in an average monthly usage, say 800, average home uses 8,000 to 10,000 per year kilowatt hours. So we put 800 in for the monthly usage up top. Based on the contract we have, for the first 6 months, you've got a $62 savings without doing anything. That's community electricity aggregation. And Phil talked about this a little bit, but I'll go on. Our expectations are, on an average home for the first 6 months, we'll save $60. Second 6 months, in the summertime, the rates go down. We expect it to be even with the utility rate. We may be a little bit higher than the utility rate, but not much. Our forecasts indicate that next winter, these savings will increase more than the $62. We have fixed rates for 2 years. Utilities can't do that. And then next summer, following summer, we expect to have savings as well. So this program for the 2 years is going to be cash positive for every participant. If, on the other hand, you have a competitive supply, and these are the people that we really want to speak to in the region, Dartmouth, Fairhaven, Acushnet, small businesses, go to the competitive supply. So if we use that $800 a month, or if it's a business, it could be 1,400 kilowatt hours a month, but let's do a residential, 800. Now the key things here are third-party supply rate. Let's use 11 cents. We've had residents come into the office and we see anywhere from 10.5 up to 14 cents fixed. We got a contract for 949, 14 cents, it's highway robbery. So 11 cents. Termination fee. What did we talk about the first time? $50, Tyler? Okay, so it costs you $50 to get out of that contract. And you only say you have 3 months left on that contract. Negative number. We would recommend you don't cancel that contract. But what if you had 12 months remaining on the contract? Well, now you're going to save, even with the cancellation fee, and you pay that $50, you're going to save money right up front. And if the cancellation fee now go to 100 or 150 on the termination. So there's a lot of variables in these contracts. We've seen cancellation fees as low as $25 and as high as $200. It's critical that you get a hold of us or Good Energy and let us walk you through the process. The numbers are black and white, and we can tell you. I've talked to local pizzerias. They spend $1,000 a month on electricity. By joining the aggregation, they're going to save $100 a month easy. So all of us are in this together. Communities, residents, businesses. It's very important that we all communicate. Anything else? You want to add anything? With that, any questions in the audience? And we have Mr. Ken Ramos and Tyler Reese from the Energy Office walking around with mics. Yes, sir. Ken.
What is the cost for residential per kilowatt hour? What is it going to be?
Hello, test 1, 2.
The cost that Eversource came out with their rates for the next 6 months, it's 10.8. With Good Energy's assistance and the communities all working together, we got 949 fixed for 2 years. As a comparison, there's a town up north that went out to bid on just themselves for third-party supply. Same thing we're doing. They got 9.9. We're 9.49. It is an exceptional rate.
How are you able to how are you able to get locked in on a fixed rate when you don't know how many kilowatts you'd be needing? In order to go out to inquire a value of kilowatts, you usually need to have X amount of kilowatts you want to purchase from an energy provider. And not knowing how many people are going to participate, how are you able to lock in what I find is a decent rate? And I just...
So what we did was we were able to get from the utility all of the eligible accounts. And then we make certain assumptions, and the suppliers really make certain assumptions as to how many will opt out and how many will migrate away during the course of the contract. And then they basically run it through their algorithms on their end and make certain assumptions along the way.
And the other question I had was, these energy companies that you're looking to purchase the power from, are they in Massachusetts? Are they within the abutting states? Are they outside of our merchant fleet? Meaning, is it coming from a regulated utility that you're buying the power off, or is it just off of non-regulated generators?
So the winning supplier was a company called Edison Solutions, Ed Solutions. They're very active in the Commonwealth. I believe they serve quite a significant portion of the businesses here in southeastern Mass, and Scott can add to that, but they do have a substantial presence within the Commonwealth. They also serve other deregulated states as well. But this is, it's a very reputable company. I know Scott has extensive experience working with them, and he can add to that, but that is the name of the company, Ed Solutions.
The city of New Bedford, the city of Fall River, and all major industry has been aggregating through the Chamber of Commerce and Rick's leadership for the last 10 years. Ed Solutions has supplied our electricity for the last 5. They are an exceptional company. Ed Solutions also provide $30 million of capital funding for the city's solar program. We are very close to Con Ed. We have a lot of faith in Con Ed and how they do business the right way.
Thank you.
Well, with that, thank you very much for the attendance. And again, we're all very excited. Thank you for David, Alan, and Doug for being here. And we will talk to you soon. Any questions, please call NBEN, the city's residential energy program. Ken Ramos runs that program, or your town administrators. And again, I know the city of New Bedford is here to assist anybody in any way we can. Thank you very much.